James Adair, the homeless chess master. James Adair never looked like the kind of man who could beat a grandmaster. When people saw him on the streets, his beard tangled, his coat patched at the elbows, his tent pitched behind a warehouse, they assumed he was just another casualty of hard times. But when he sat down at a chessboard, the assumptions vanished. His eyes sharpened, his hands steadied, and suddenly the man who lived in a tent commanded 64 squares with the calm authority of a seasoned general. Chess had found him when he was a boy. His family never had much, but the public library did, and that was where James discovered the boards set out for children's programs. He watched older kids play, then joined in. Before long, the game consumed him. He devoured every book the library carried: Modern Chess Openings, My System, the collected games of Alekhine and Capablanca. By 14, he was studying Grandmaster games move by move, tracing the invisible threads of strategy that others missed. In local chess clubs, James was a curiosity at first, an awkward teenager who played too fast, talked too little. But his results spoke for him. He beat men twice his age, men who had trophies at home, men who knew his name before long. One club director called him a prodigy. Another said he had a memory like a machine and the creativity of an artist. But life, unlike chess, offers no guarantee of order. James dropped out of college when his mother fell ill, working jobs that never paid enough, chasing stability that kept slipping through his fingers. When she died, grief hollowed him out. A bad marriage followed, then drinking, then the slow decline that ended with him living in shelters and finally in a tent. By the time he reached his 40s, the chess clubs no longer saw him. The man who had once been called a prodigy was now just another shadow on the edge of the city. And yet he never abandoned the board. James carried a small, mismatched set in his duffel. Some pieces were wood, some plastic. A missing pawn was replaced by a wine cork. To him, it didn't matter. He would sit in the park, line up the pieces, and play whoever stopped. At first, it was other homeless men, curious or bored. Then local amateurs, intrigued by stories of a man who could predict your move before you even touched the piece. Word spread, the homeless chess master, they called him. He wasn't hustling for money like the park sharks. He played because he needed to, because the game gave his days a rhythm no hardship could erase. And when stronger players arrived, club champions, even titled masters, they discovered the rumors were true. He beat them. Not always, but often enough to prove he belonged in their world, even if life had exiled him from it. In time, a documentary filmmaker found him. She had been working on a project about life in the city's homeless camps when someone mentioned the man with the chessboard. Her camera captured James hunched over his mismatched pieces, explaining lines of the Sicilian defense with the clarity of a seasoned coach. She filmed him in tournaments where he borrowed entry fees, where he sat across from men in suits and ties and made them sweat. She filmed his tent, too, the fragility of his life alongside the strength of his mind. The documentary spread further than James expected. Festival audiences were moved. Articles appeared about the man in the tent who could beat grandmasters. Some viewers sent donations. Others sent chess sets to shelters in their own towns, inspired by his story. James never became rich, never found the fairy tale ending that people like to attach to stories like his. But he found something steadier, a kind of respect, a quiet recognition. Young players sought him out not just for his skill, but for the way he spoke about the game. Chess, he would tell them, is the one place the world makes sense. Out here, you can lose everything for no reason at all. But on the board, you only lose if you make the wrong move. And if you learn, if you fight, if you keep pushing a pawn step by step, you can win. Even a pawn can become a queen. For James Adair, that was enough. A life of hardship had taken his home, his career, his safety, but not his mind, not his game. In the end, he became a legend in his own right, a man with nothing who reminded the world that genius does not disappear just because fortune does. And even now, years later, people still tell his story. The story of the homeless man who carried a chessboard in a duffel bag, who lived in a tent, who beat grandmasters, and who proved, quietly and defiantly, that brilliance can survive anywhere,